Hey guys, welcome to our Sometimes Tuesday Paintapalooza. We go live, we paint all the thrifted items that we need to get done that have sold or just need to get ready for our shop. You can purchase the paint and products and our thrift flips at JamieRayVintage.com. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're back from Alabama. I am under the weather. I'm pretty sure I shared my cold with Zeb.
Yeah, I got a little tickle in my throat this morning.
I got mine from my cute nephew, which was totally worth it. We shared a water bottle all weekend and he's sick. So it's fine. I'm going to drink my collagen because I need collagen and protein this morning. I took all my vitamins and we're just going to get stuff painted.
This is not getting painted. It'll get sanded and oiled, but I had it out. I think, is this sold?
Mm-hmm.
This cutting board has sold. So it has a little split in the top. It's not very big. It's still totally usable this way, but to keep it from getting bigger, we're going to glue and clamp. I'm just going to let that glue kind of sit down in there for a minute and settle in the bottom. And then I'll clamp it tight because it's hard to get it down far enough into the crack. So I want to give it as much surface area on the glue as we can. So I'm going to let that gravity work a little bit. And then we'll clamp it up. But we have milk paint. There is a milk paint sale going on right now. So all the brands of milk paint that we carry, the Sweet Pickins, the Farmhouse Finishes, and the Bespoke milk paint line are on sale, and Extra Bond is also on sale right now.
Not any of the finishes. So like the top coats, the oil wax, none of that is on sale. Eliza, can you remind Odelia to pick up Luke and Redrick from football at noon? And tell her to go get them lunch or a treat afterwards because Callie sent me money. Sorry.
A treat after football practice.
Well, so I got a text. I thought I got a text this morning, but it actually was from last night. It said, "Hey, is Redrick going to weights in the morning or whatever, or tomorrow?" It said, "Is Redrick going to weights tomorrow?" I was like, "Oh shoot, I didn't know for football." I said, "I can take him," but then she texted me. She's like, "Are you going to pick up Luke?" And it was like already time to go. I was like, "Well, I thought you said tomorrow," but she had texted me the night before, so she actually meant this morning, but I was not quite with it. So then she Venmo'd me money without me asking to get myself a treat, but I'm just going to use that money to buy those boys lunch because teenage boys are always hungry, especially after lifting weights. And Redrick was a little grumpy this morning, so it'll make him happy. He didn't know he had weightlifting. What happened is somehow the app that like tells us when practice is no longer working for Zeb, and I let Zeb be in charge of downloading the app, so I haven't known any of the time. So today, when we're done being live, we're going to figure it out because I got to know when all the things are.
Well, it's through Redrick's email, and he's supposed to be keeping track of it, and so I can't have an account. The boys have their own account, and I was logged in through Redrick's account.
You can have a parent account, I thought.
No, I don't think so, because they didn't want you on there because they have like 200 boys in the football program.
I don't know. We'll figure it out because there is a way as a parent to see things.
Anyway, I tried sending a reset passcode to Redrick, and when there's something wrong with his phone, when we get the link to reset the password, it opens up like a random game in his phone.
We could just text the Jepsons and be like, "Is there any way to circumvent this?"
We'll either fix his phone or re-download the app. I don't know. I just haven't spent any time looking at it because it hasn't been a priority. But now that it's summer, the schedules are changing often, and they do that through the app to let you know what's going on. So we probably need to have it.
Yeah. Just, we got back. It's like life hit me in the face because I also got the reminder that Jack has football camp 2 days next week, and he has activity day camp at church one day, and it's like he's got to go to football camp, and then I got to drop him off at activity camp. Eliza leaves for girls camp for church tomorrow. So
should we go?
Oh, and then next week Redrick has FSY, which is like
another church camp,
a youth camp that has boys and girls. Obviously,
they do it on college
separate.
Campuses.
Yeah, they go to college dorms. So all the camps all summer long. July is a little slower. Eliza only has cheer camp and FSY, and then she doesn't have cheer practice.
All right, so we did pretty good. I wiped all the glue off of there, and then I squeezed it shut, and this is how much glue came back out. Like we got enough that it's wanting to drip. So I feel like we did pretty good. We'll get pretty good coverage. I'm going to leave that clamped. I've got it pretty tight here. It's starting to bow my little, these clamps aren't made for that much pressure, I don't think, but they'll hold it tight and it'll glue together, and then we'll sand this. I might not get to that on this video because it takes a while when you got this much pressure for that glue to set up. I might let this set a full 24 hours before I take those clamps off.
All right, I just shared the link to the milk paint. Also, Caitlin's not on here. She had to take her husband to work. So if you get a question, maybe you guys can help answer for people. And if I don't get it answered because I'm doing a million other things, info@jamierayvintage.com. Shoot us an email. I'm also going to link the cottage color paint. I'm currently using Garden Sage.
All right. While we're doing this, it's a milk paint video. We will be getting to using that here soon. This is one of the totes. We thrifted 2 of these. I used 2 of them for Valentine's Day. I planted a bunch of primroses for Jamie in them, and they lived on the table for a while, but they had to get transplanted out. They went over at the shop on that one wall where everything that's dying goes because it.
No, they're actually in the corner where my lavender is. So along the wall, I have.
But that's still the same side, the shady side of the shop.
I have a hospital for half-dead plants at the shop.
They all come back when you put them over there.
Most of the plants get transplanted in a couple places if they just can't handle the sun or they're half dead. But it looks pretty. My lupine is blossoming and looks really good. And my hydrangeas some of them are about to blossom out and some of them are at least starting to get the little green buds on the side. The ones that bought me for Valentine's Day were literally dead by the time I put them in the ground, and they're rejuvenating. I'm like my dad. I have a hard time if I think I could help a plant survive, just like pitching it.
I think it's less about it surviving, and in the back of your mind, you're like, I paid $15 for this.
No,
plant.
I don't really care that much about that. It's more about like, I just like to save things. My mother-in-law, when we were in Alabama, had some bare root strawberries she had in her fridge.
They were like in her fridge and Tupperware.
And they had been there for months, and half of them were moldy, but half of them were salvageable. So I got them in some tubs for her before we left. And I got a picture this morning that they're thriving. So
my sister Maddie lives with them out there, and she's a big gardener. And we put my mom's garden in while we were out there.
Yes.
We didn't film any of that.
To be garden, like it's like 3 times the size of our garden.
Yeah, it's my dad. I'm like, hey Dad, I'm gonna clear some of these hoses. He had a bunch of hoses and random trellises and stuff, and we kind of did a new layout for them and set the trellises up, kind of like we did in our garden. If you guys haven't seen our garden video, that's up. I put that up yesterday
on the Jamie and Zeb channel,
last Friday on the Jamie and Zeb channel. So we're gonna be trying to do videos. I'm gonna commit to getting at least 1 a week up to kind of get that channel going again. So if you guys want to turn notifications back on over there or follow us over there, that's where we do like all the stuff that isn't Jamie Ray Vintage. Like it's kind of like a gardening and our
crap
land
we do
vlog,
when we're not doing this stuff.
Bedroom makeovers, things like that land there.
If you guys are new here, we are busy people and we love a good project. His mom was like, you guys don't need to do any projects when you come, but they're getting older and they have a lot of property. Maddie just had a baby and she has 3 kids. Her oldest is not even 4 yet.
Maddie's my sister that lives with my parents.
So she is busy. She has a 2-year-old, a newborn, like newborn, and an almost 4-year-old. So she doesn't really get a lot done. And her almost 4-year-old is a lot like our oldest child. And she is just, she's a lot of hands-on.
Well, and her newest baby was breached and she had a C-section. So she's like not even lifting anything really yet.
Yeah. So anyways, Maddie is not able to really do much, but they love to garden. So we got the garden put in, but his dad tilled a lot of land up.
Yeah,
so we just
back
planted
to the
it
garden
all.
story. I'm like, Dad, he's got a tractor and rototiller attachment for it. I'm like, hey, I got this cleared off. Till it up. Anyway, he tilled up way more than I thought he was going to. It's like 1/4 of an acre over there. I'm like, this reminds me of the gardens of my youth. Why does everything got to be so huge?
And we literally just threw seeds in the ground. We did our best, but we had a lot of the kids helping. And when kids help, things just happen. But, it grows.
What is this color? This one's the Cheshire is this one, right?
Yes.
This is, cannot remember the name of it.
Kent.
Kentish? It is, no, Kent. Just Kent.
Kent.
So this is the bespoke milk paints that Jamie and I helped curate.
There's a Jamie Ray Vintage bespoke milk paint.
Yeah. And, happy to report the frother, I put new batteries in it that weren't dead from the boys playing video games on them for hours and hours. And it works actually really well for a small little like mix up like this.
You know, if you're going to mix a lot, then I would use the immersion blender.
Yeah, but the immersion blender doesn't fit in these little cups we use while we're live. So you hear me hitting the bottom of the cup.
I'm going to be putting this art in this frame. This is from channel membership. So if you guys are channel membership, make sure you check out your printables for this month. And make sure you download them so that way, even if you don't print them, you don't lose them, because you can print up to 100 copies of them. And then not to be confused with the paper subscription. Channel membership is on YouTube. It's like $6 a month. I'm not really sure YouTube has it all set up there. And you get 2 live videos and 2 printables every month. And then on Facebook, it's called JRV subscribers, and it's just a paid group on Facebook. But the printables and the videos are the same on both. We don't really talk about being a channel member on this channel very much. We probably should, because I feel like it's a really good value. Even if you don't watch the live videos, even if you just download the 2 printables a month, like that's a really good deal for 2 printables.
So it's all digital format. We're not printing stuff for you. That's on you. But you can. I do a pretty high definition. So if you don't want it, they're formatted for 8x10, because the idea is you find a cool frame, paint it up, throw it in an 8x10. You can print it off at home if you got a color printer. But if not, a lot of copy shops and places, you can blow it up if you want. If you want it to be bigger, it'll size up pretty well. It's pretty high definition digital formatting. So there is a point where it will become pixelated. But most print or copy shops will tell you, hey, this isn't going to look good.
And Zeb designs them every month. Leslie says, I tried to share YouTube membership because it is so good. I feel like we do a good job. I'm like pretty particular about what I spend my money on, and I would totally do it just for the printables. I need to shake this up. That's not going to shake this up. Wrong top.
Well, and it changes every month. So if you've been, you get 2, so you get 24 a month. As far as this, or a year, I mean, design wise, if you're subscribed for the whole year.
We should have another one of those boxes in the barn.
We do. We have another one in the barn, so we could do 2 of these to match. I don't think this is currently on the website. They never made it there. So, and this is actually home because I didn't have a basket to put eggs in, and I didn't collect eggs for like 3 days. I had like 30 eggs to bring home. So I just grabbed this out of the barn.
Seb uses whatever he can find.
It's, nothing's safe. If it'll hold things, it's getting eggs in it.
So this is a good question. How do we decide what paint to use on what project? So for me, sometimes it's whatever I'm feeling. If something's super shiny, I'm probably not going to use milk paint because I don't want to deal with that. And like on these projects, the reason why I'm using cottage color is because it has a built-in sealer. So I just am doing a quick frame paint on them. If I was doing a large frame and I wanted like a chippy layered effect, I probably would use milk paint and cottage color, like combined, with cottage color underneath, milk paint over top. And sometimes it comes down to the shade, which shade we have for what. Most of our personal furniture is painted with milk paint because I really love chippy paint. So it just kind of depends. I guess that doesn't really answer. Yeah, cabinetry, I'm going to always probably use cottage color because there's a built-in sealer, and it's just easy to touch up when needed. If I was going to paint like a front door, I would also use cottage color because it's rated for outside. So hopefully that answers your question, but it really just depends on what you like. Sometimes it depends on what we have at home. Like sometimes I just use whatever is handy. It's kind of like they're like, what brush do you use for what project? Whichever one I have. If something's really detailed, I like to use a round brush because it gets in all the details. For something like this, where it's a very small area, I really do love the Turquoise Iris Assistant. It's made for fine art, but it works really well on small projects. And it is so easy to clean up because it doesn't have a lot of paint on it. So you don't waste a lot of paint. So that's nice when you're just doing a little project like this. I am going to have to clean up this glass. I've got a little bit of paint on it, but it won't be too hard. I can't take the art out because it's
well, the back is what's kind of cool, is like got a really
it's like got a professional,
but it's like old
backer.
And like starting to get really aged. You never see the back, but that's the kind of stuff I
metal
like.
Front door, I would use cottage color. If it's really shiny, I would prime it first with Salvation Solution, and then cottage color over the top of it. Our front door at the shop, I primed it first to like, because it was wood, so that way it wouldn't get any bleed through. And then I painted it with cottage color like 2 years ago, and it's held up just fine. I'm actually going to go over it probably with anvil this summer because we get a lot of box elder bugs are attracted to the white door, and it looks like stupid.
Well,
So,
and they all die, like go die in the heat of the sun.
And you
in the
can see all the bugs, and it looks like we have a bug infested shop, and it's not, you can't kill them either, because if you spray them, they just come back. But if I paint it black, A, they won't be attracted to it. And B, if they come, you won't be able to see them because they're black. The paint's black. So that's what I'm going to be doing at some point. Once I get over this cold, I'll just go there one early morning and get it all painted.
So I realized when we were in Alabama, everybody's always, I've been gardening most of my life with my mother and my dad, it's out here in the West. We went to, and people like to give me a lot of advice, which I do appreciate. But usually it's like with the sprinklers, they're like, you're just going to get moldy and mildew and fungus and stuff growing on all your plants.
And they always worry about drainage in our big pots too.
Yeah, and drainage, and it's literally a non-issue here in Utah. It is so dry and hot through the summer when we're growing. I water my garden twice a week. We don't get any, or twice a day. We don't get any mildew. We don't get any weirdness happening. I do like a half-hour water at 5 a.m. and then in the afternoon I do a 15-minute water, because all the stuff starts looking wilty, even though it gets lots of water. It just basically needs to cool off. But anyway, I was out in Alabama, and I could totally see how things could get root rot and not do well, because
if you live somewhere where it's super, super wet and your soil is just so saturated you can't grow stuff.
Yeah.
You can plant in hay bales. That's what my mother-in-law did in Texas, because they had what they called gumbo. It was just a super clay soil, and they couldn't get it to grow. So she actually planted in hay bales and was super successful. Yeah. And it was a nice height for her as well, because then she didn't have to bend over too far.
Well,
so that is something to consider.
She did that here in Alabama. They just do a hay bale, and then they go get like a bunch of potting soil or manure or whatever you want. You just dump it on top of that hay bale. And she did that like 3 or 4 times and then planted in it. And then this year, the hay bales were all breaking down. It's been raining on them for a year since last gardening season. And my dad just rototilled those on in. And now it's like this really amazing, like amended soil out there with like hay and all of that potting soil that she put on there. And we planted a bunch of potatoes and root vegetables in through that. So we'll see how that goes.
They're getting rain all this week, so it should really get a jump started. Do we need to have permission for copyright? Doesn't the website that you go to for them have
there is a release on so when you get your printable, I send you to a link so that you can do the high-res download. We have like a separate blog website that's just for channel membership. You log in with the password that I give you every month and go download your printable. There's a disclaimer on there that you can also download if anybody ever gives you any trouble, but I'm making sure, like, to sell it, that it's copyrighted for commercial use, so you can do up to 100 copies yourself without having to mess around with anything. So if anybody ever gives you trouble, you can always email info@januaryvintage.com if you can't find that release on the blog, and Caitlin can help you get that, but it's really easy.
But you probably won't have any trouble, because if you download it and then email it, there's nothing on that. Like, a lot of times you have to have a copyright, because then when you download it, there's like something that says it's copyrighted on there, but ours doesn't.
I've only ran into it a couple times, and it was one of our a person in Canada had a membership, and they just apparently they couldn't, unless it was like an actual picture of themselves or a photo they had to have a release where she was taking it. So, and that's the only reason we even have a release, is so that, because I had to make one for her.
So Kim says she bought veranda and garden sage, and they got thick. She got the samples. Can I add water? Yes, you can.
Yep, it's water-based. Just be careful, because you don't want it to get too watery. Like, just work up to the
just do a little bit at a time. The DIY paint, and now if this gets dried out, you're out of luck because of the top coat. But if it's just thick, you can add water to it. The DIY paint, it could be completely dried out, and you can mash it up into like little granules and add water and reconstitute it, because the DIY paint does not have a sealer in it.
I didn't quite mix enough paint. So I'm just like watering this down and doing like a wash on some of these sides. But I'm going to sand this all down when we're all done. I'm going to go set this outside. I chose milk paint for this particular one. If you have something that's like raw wood, that's like my favorite thing to milk paint. I don't even use any extra bond because this is going to soak down in there.
Yeah, there's no need for bond on raw
and
wood.
It sticks so well.
Did you water that down?
I just did on this bottom because
like
I ran out of paint. Yeah. But it's going to stick really well and it powders off if you sand it or distress it. And I love it. So it's the perfect application for raw wood. The farmhouse finishes version of the milk paint, because there's Sweet Pickins milk paint, farmhouse finishes milk paint, and then we have our bespoke milk paint line. The farmhouse finishes has extra bond mixed into it. It doesn't make it a sealer, but it helps it not chip as much on like shinier surfaces, and it literally helps it bond to things if it's like a really slick surface.
So if you want super chippy, you don't want to use farmhouse.
And there's directions on the bond for how much to use, but just know it's not a sealer. It's to help the milk paint not chip as much. And you still may get some chipping depending on what's on your piece, what's underneath it, if it's oily, waxy. All those things will resist the milk paint and make it chip. So just be aware of that. A lot of people are sometimes scared to use milk paint, and I say go for it. It's my favorite, like old world chippy finish paint. We can force the other paints to do things, but this does it all on its own a lot of times.
So for a steel front door, I would lightly sand it to give it some tooth. Then I would use Salvation Solution Primer, and then any of the cottage color paints that has a built-in sealer, and then that's all you need. I haven't had any problems with fading outside, but also I painted white, so I don't know if that would really fade. But some of the super bright colors, they could fade over time, but it should hold it pretty well because it's rated for outside. I really haven't had a problem with it. I've tried the cottage color outside on a lot of different projects just to see how they hold up. Like I just did a couple of planters. If you guys saw the little short form video that we did on that like 2 weeks ago, we used Provincial with a whitewash and white linen, and they are holding up famously. And my dahlias are actually, I need to go out and trim some of them off because my dahlias that I planted in them are doing really good. And for whatever reason, the dahlias on the left are like taller and bigger than the dahlias on the right. And the dahlias on the left are the ones that are half dead most of the time because they don't get water from the sprinkler, so I have to hand water them. So it's like they like the abuse. I don't know. But I'm just proud that I can grow dahlias at all because sometimes they can be a pain.
I'm grabbing
really love dahlias.
I'm just grabbing a stencil over here. I'll be right back.
Jude says anvil looks fantastic on my metal door. That's awesome. I'm actually slowly repainting all my interior doors and my front door with anvil because I really like it. I like the built-in sealer, and I like the fact that if I have to touch it up, I don't have to like paint it and seal it. I could just seal it because previously I used little black dress and black wax, which looks beautiful, but then if you have to touch it up, you then have to like sand it, little black dress, black wax. It's like a whole situation. It's so nice when it's an all-in-one. You could just touch it up and bounce. Thanks, Odelia. Can you get the boys some lunch? Do you have money in your account? And then I'll just put more money in there based off of what you spend. It's funny, reimbursed. I reimbursed you in the first place.
Reimbursed you.
I'm all the bursting. Thanks, Shannon. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but it's nice to know I don't look as bad as I feel. Okay, just take him to McDonald's or whatever.
You should take him to Iceberg and get me a Heath shake.
Oh, if you go to Iceberg, I have coupons. Oh, not Iceberg, Arctic Circle.
Arctic Circle.
You need to get your ice cream made for your soft serve machine.
I haven't been home. You got to let it sit for 24 hours.
Hopefully the heavy cream hasn't gone bad in the bottom of the fridge.
Listen, it's already hot out there, and I've been gardening already.
Loves soft serve with like Heath in it, like the blizzards and type things you can get. And so I bought a Ninja. It's not a creamy. It's the soft serve one, whatever that is. It's a creamy and a soft serve. It's not just the creamy, but when you make it in the creamy and then you put it in there and it has a soft serve machine. Anyways, we are ready for summer. We are real serious about having all the things so we can party and not really have to leave the house. So we have a slushy, we have the Ninja slushie, we have the Ninja soft serve, we have a pizza oven, which we bought like 3 years ago for Father's Day. I actually
Oh,
was thinking, you know what else I wanted to
that
add to
gets
my,
used a ton.
my repertoire this summer? I want to buy a cotton candy machine. Because the neighborhood kids would love it.
We could do cotton candy for Halloween.
Yes.
You
I've
could
been
just
wanting
sit
to do
out
that.
there and have a little fire pit and do cotton candy.
If anybody that knows me knows that like I love children, anything that makes kids happy, whether it's my own kids or other kids, it's just like now that I'm getting older and we have a little bit more, I don't know, how do you say it? Like reserves. We're not broke as a joke like we were a decade ago. I love to do things that make kids happy. So like we have the slushy machine and soft serve machine because we have a pool and we have kids here all summer long, and it's really fun to like have that for them or treats or whatever. So I think cotton candy machine is next on my list of things for the summer. All right, I need to get.
Sorry you guys had to hear that.
I need to get a color for this because that frame sits on this.
So I'm using cobblestone. I think this is cobblestone. Is this no plastic? No, ironstone.
Yeah.
Ironstone milk paint, and I'm mixing it up thick because I'm going to stencil with it. And I'm using this month's subscription stencil. We also have the subscription papers. You have about 13 or 14 days left if you're not subscribed to get this month's stuff. That ends on the 12th of June.
Core treater, we don't have a popcorn machine. That would be fun too. We do have space like in our basement to store some stuff, and we've been cleaning out the garage a little bit, so we probably have some room in there. Also on my list is I need to figure out what kind of pool slide to put in. Our pool isn't super deep, so yeah, we didn't get a slide put in when we bought the pool. We just had it plumbed because I wanted the kids to have something to look forward to. The
conundrum is, do we do like a big rock kind of formation?
I think something pretty because I don't want an ugly slide. But
well, we might have to just like build it with stone, and then I can
like buy the slide and you can
and then build it with bricks, and then I can come back in and do like the rock siding on it like I did on the front porch. Now
that you've put it out in the universe, maybe you'll find it at the thrift store. Maybe. I've not seen a cotton candy machine. I have seen popcorn machines.
I'm just mixing up a very little bit too, so this is like scraping on the bottom.
I'm using crockery to paint this because I think it'll look good. Oh, Paula said that they just got their music stand and they love it. You got the brass one. I'm so glad that made it.
Oh, yay.
Oh, and heads up for shipping. They are doing pretty good at getting things out, but we have been delayed on DIY paint. So if you have an order that you had DIY paint in and it's been a few days, we should be getting our pallet today. Because they're sending all of our orders on that pallet. So we'll get that caught up. And then if you order the new Iron Orchid designs and it hasn't shipped, we have more restock coming Wednesday. We've been shipping out what we could, but then we needed to wait on restock. So we are getting things out. We are very well staffed at the shop, so much so that we actually can't really go in and ship.
It's not enough room.
Unless it's in the middle of the night because we have people there shipping.
We might go this evening and knock some things out.
Yeah, we might go out this evening and ship. They've been pretty good about getting things out, but I just want to give you guys a heads up. Your orders will come. It's just been crazy with the Iron Orchid Designs summer release that just came out on Thursday has been amazingly popular. And we've actually sold out of the Sarah botanical transfers. Luckily, we did order quite a bit because they were sold out on the first day of the release at IOD, and we just barely sold out last night. But the rest of the transfers we still have in stock because we ordered so many of them because I know you guys.
And they should be getting those back in. It's not a limited release on this.
Yeah, they will get them back in, but it usually takes months. I know that we should be getting more of the last release that we've been sold out of. Hopefully the end of this month, IOD will have it in stock, and then we will order more of those. Caitlin is really good about staying on top of that.
So just if you missed it and you really wanted it, just click
notify me when back in stock.
Notify when back in stock on the listing.
Is Leslie Johnson my mediator? No, she's just my homegirl, and she knows all the things. There was a question about painting silver trays. Let me go back. Salvation Solution is a primer. Yes, it is. Extra Bond is an additive for milk paint. And I have not put Extra Bond in any other paint, but I don't know that you couldn't as long as it was water-based. I just haven't tried it, but it does work for milk paint. Okay, I'm trying to see back. I missed the comment about painting silver. So you'll either re-ask it or I'll try to just give you the rundown. We paint tarnished silver all the time. And
Well,
thus
we
far,
started.
Yeah. In the last few weeks, it's been all the time. And all we have done is cleaned it and painted it with cottage color directly. As long as it's not got like a lacquer finish on it, there's really nothing you need to do besides clean it, paint it with a cottage color, and then you can put a transfer on it or whatever, and then you can seal it with either clear wax over the transfer or final finishes, and any of the sheens would also work to seal over the transfer. I ordered your new paint samples on the first day. Will they be shipped soon? Yes, those are coming.
That's today.
Yeah, those are coming
Some of
on the
them.
pallet today. You can
We
also
sold so
email
many,
Caitlin.
and then they were a hot minute getting them to us.
Yeah, we had some, then we ordered a restock, and we thought they'd ship out right away, and they haven't. But those should be on the pallet today. If you ordered something else like the new IOD, then it might not ship out till tomorrow. But email Caitlin. She can check it specifically. But I know they're getting out. Let's see. You're welcome, Joyce. Let me look up your name. Jean Bender. Lucky for us, we have like whole, I think sometimes people don't realize it. Like if we're out of town, they think maybe things aren't still moving along, but we have an entire team of people that work for us. And I don't see an order for you, Jean, Jeanne, Bender. Let me just try just your last name. Is it possible, Jean, that you ordered it from somebody else? Stephen Bender? Oh, it's probably under her husband's name. Is that you? Are you Stephen? Because that's just a mixology. Let me send this to the shop and share with staff.
All right, so this is one of the, you get 6. I can't find one, so I don't know where the other one, but 6 of these panels with this month's stencil subscription, and it's working pretty well. I just mixed this milk paint up a little thicker. You don't have to, just make sure your brush is still getting dry, but it helps if it's a little thicker. It almost works like the DIY paint, the clay-based formula to stencil with, which is probably my favorite paint to stencil with. But I just want to show you that you can easily do it with the milk paint as well. This might take me a minute because I'm going to go all along one side here.
Hold on, I'm getting text about where Jack's playing. Mindy had to go somewhere, but they're going to the grandma's house behind. She wanted to know if that was okay, which it is totally fine. Keeping track of it, and Redrick apparently got done with football early and had texted me, but I told him Julia was on her way, so that way he knows. All right, Jean, I texted the shop, so I will make sure that when they get those in, that they get your sampler out. It's possible that the order, like, because we ship them in order, so I'm guessing your order came in after, like, we had sold through our initial order, and we were just waiting on the restock, but it's coming. Okay, let's see. Are y'all going to get any more of the seed packet? Yes, when Iron Orchid Designs gets them back in stock, which I'm hoping the end of this month, they should have that and like ephemeral melange, I think. I know we have Brocante back in stock, or we did. And that's one of my favorites too.
So this stencil has registration marks so that you can repeat the pattern. Mine are actually up above on this box, but if you were doing like a wall or a big, or like a side of a drawer or something, or even the face of a drawer, because these are big enough, you could do raised stencils on them too. They're thick enough. Cottage
color does work great on items outside. Although I can't tell you that our previous urns that we've had outside were painted with DIY paint and milk paint. This was long before cottage color was even a twinkle in our eye. And I sealed them with Sweet Pickens Final Finishes, which technically isn't rated for outdoors. And those urns still look fine. The paint's worn a little bit on them.
They got some wear on the bottom,
but we like layered a ton of paint on them. Like they're at the shop and I have not repainted them and they've been okay. So you could use Final Finishes top coat, although technically not rated for outside on outdoor stuff. But yes, cottage color I would say would be best practice because that's not an off-label use. It really is made for outside. I was a little skeptical when we first got it, and so I didn't really promote it for outside until I personally used it and then saw if it stood the test of time, and it has been a good one for us. You don't want to leave them out like in a torrential downpour, you know, if you can help it. Like if you have a super rainy season, you might want to not have it out there. I don't know. we don't get as much rain. So
But we
I
do
can
get a
attest
lot
to
of
that.
snow, and frost is hard on
Technically, you
anything.
shouldn't leave it out in the snow either, though. Like if you paint furniture with it,
But
you
we
shouldn't leave it.
did.
But we do. And our table that we painted out there, the bottom where the snow sits on the legs of the table, we probably need to repaint that. But other than that, it's held up fine. And that's our fault because we don't take our furniture inside.
Or cover it.
Or cover
it. Just
it.
had
It just
snow
sits
sitting
with
on
snow
there.
on it all winter long, which is not, I mean, there's no paint made for that. Maybe marine varnish. Thank you, Caitlin. She just dropped a link to the milk paint sale. Okay, just see if there's any questions. All right, I'm almost done painting this little stand. This has a lot of like sides to it. Oh, this goes the other way.
Careful not to flip your stencil the wrong direction. I almost did that.
We are notorious for doing things. We have to do it wrong so we can show people how to fix stuff. If you never make any mistakes, then you can't help people when they make mistakes. So it's our job to screw things up, quite literally. Okay, that's perfect. I will only need one coat because this is raw wood, so it covered perfectly. This frame is going to need a third coat because it is not raw wood. It's super shiny, and I can show you the difference. So this is 2 coats of garden sage, and it's perfect. And that's because the wood was pretty dry and it's actual wood. This is like the plastic of wood, and it's going to need 3 coats of paint to get full coverage.
You have
what color? Zeb used Kent, and he's stenciling in ironstone. And he's using this month's subscription pack that you can sign up for until the 12th to get 6 stencils that are all like an ICAT design. And then every month we come out with new ones, which reminds me, phew, I need to come out with next month and get those over. It's like every month designing.
Maybe you can rest in the bed this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I was thinking if you photographed all that stuff and airdropped it to me, I get that listed for Saturday.
Okay.
We already have our video that's going to go up Thursday, pretty much filmed. We just need to finish it.
We went thrifting in Alabama. We actually did not find, so we were very particular when we were thrifting, and we talk about it in the video, but when we travel, we try to find things we can't get in our own area. Like, we're not looking for candlesticks to make over or frames to make over. I did buy one really big, well, a couple frames, one really big one that didn't fit in the suitcase. And my mom was not sad that we left it there with her.
When we bought it, she said, well, if that doesn't fit, then I can keep it.
Like,
yes, I will show you garden sage up against provincial. Our cabinets are provincial, so you can see. Does this, it's not super close, but can you guys see?
They can't really see
Maybe use this one because it's thicker. Is that a better? Yeah, that's good.
Zoom in.
That's as good as it's going to get today.
But in the thrifting video, we were pretty particular. I actually found a lot of stuff that was priced. I would have bought it, but I was like, I'm not going to fly that home.
I do have to say, so I always worry, like, are we pricing things well or whatever? We went to a lot of antique stores, and I was like, a lot of the stuff is twice what we sell for, which makes me realize that's why people buy with us that live all over the country, because we are priced competitively. Are we as cheap as a thrift store? No. But we are priced competitively in the market compared to other antique stores. So I'm like, I was feeling pretty good about myself when I saw some of those prices that we were finding. And I didn't think they were outrageous, but as far as antique stores go, we are pretty competitive. We actually had a lady, I don't know who it was, Eliza was there on Saturday, that was like ripping my employee about that our prices were too high. And I'm like, poor Stephanie. Like, first of all, she doesn't set the prices. I need to just tell her, if anybody ever complains, tell them they can email us. And if they email us, we'll explain that we always price ourselves based off of national averages. And usually we are just below national average. And that's online. But I would say, like, in person, we are way below the national average of antique stores. I was actually really surprised. We did get some good deals. I got some willow. Is that what it is? Willow pattern?
Yeah. Blue willow plates.
Blue willow
or
bowls and mugs, because they were half off, and they were a good deal because I'm putting blue willow in my china hutch for the summer. And I've sold everything but my platters at the shop. So I'm having to source stuff to fill up my china hutch. Beverly says, I love that you're so authentic and I can't wait for your videos. I'm hooked. I just ordered milk paint for the first time. Oh, hopefully you have a good experience with milk paint and have a good time. I do have to say with milk paint, I used it about 5 times before I was really hooked. It's one of those things like I can tell you guys how to use it and how it should react based off of the shine of your piece. But until you use it, you don't know. But when you use it enough, you become comfortable with it and then you pretty much know how it's going to react.
It's a lot of fun.
It occasionally is surprising. If you're like a control freak, I feel like milk paint might be hard for you, but otherwise it's such a great medium and the look that you're going to get from it is not going to be like any other paint, especially if you're going for a chippy look. Like I've painted pieces with milk paint and people thought that that was original old chippy paint. And I've never been able to get that look with anything else. Yes, Janet, my girls actually already have, Eliza has some bracelets. I think about a 4th of them have sold, listed up on Jamie Ray Vintage under our thrift finds and thrift flips. I am going to get her own collection on the website, but for now it's under our thrift finds because we did thrift the beads. And about a 4th of them have sold and she will make more. Odelia is not making them for resale because she's a service missionary right now. So she's not working. But Eliza is doing it.
Eliza is working.
Eliza's working. Eliza works at the shop as much as she can. And then she does like little things that she makes and sells because she's a cheerleader. And so she's super busy and having a regular job doesn't really work for her schedule. All right, I'm going to heat gun this and then this will be done. Yeah, the first layer of milk paint typically doesn't look good. Crystal says, I ordered $100 of milk paint. Been wanting to try it for a long time. Awesome.
It's good stuff. I mean,
Diana says eBay has a lot of blue willow. I will check. I just need plates.
So I'm gonna go set this in the sun so that I can distress this side and show you guys what one side finished looks like, and I might do the rest of it. But as far as like ease of use, this was raw cedar, so it was super easy. It's gonna soak up all the paint, but I just painted this in milk paint, no issues, and stenciled with it too. Like we don't want to scare you from using it, but some people worry about how much it's going to chip. And we have had people use it and like the piece wasn't prepped how it needed to be, or it was really shiny.
Or there was just something on it that they didn't know.
And it all flaked off, like almost all of it. And they had to repaint it again and they were really frustrated with it. So just know that it has a mind of its own. The more porous and rough your surface is, the better results you're going to get with it. If it's a shiny piece, use extra bond to the recommended amount.
Try a small portion of the piece, like paint a drawer, see how it works. Then you know what to do with the rest of it. But the thing that I like to tell people about used furniture in general, like we can't control every outcome no matter what product you're using because there's so many variables in a used piece of furniture, where it's lived, what has been put on it, did it get grease on it that you couldn't scrub off or didn't know existed, does it have bleed through, is there a permanent marker on it and you didn't know was there and it came through. Like there's just a myriad of things. So we do our best to give you the information, but if you still have a problem, you can always email info@jamierayvintage.com. Please include pictures and an explanation, and we usually can help you troubleshoot through that. Sometimes it's still impossible without actually being there. But we really do our best because we want you guys to be successful with your projects, with our products, and we've been there. The pink table that we sold that we did a while ago where I just painted the base, I showed in that video how too much chipped off in an area and then I had to sand it, add extra bond, and repaint that small portion. I don't know why that particular area reacted that way because the rest was fine. It just chipped a little bit.
Probably had some furniture polish on it.
Especially, yeah, old antiques. People used to love their old English furniture polish, and that can be a real pain in the butt. The left side of Zeb's drawer doesn't have a stencil on it, somebody said. Were you stenciling the other side?
I haven't done the other side yet.
Another thing that's helpful too is people will ask us how to get certain finish, but they don't include a picture. If you include a picture of like, this is what my piece looks like, this is what I want it to look like, we can typically give you a product list too. Be patient because sometimes it takes us a minute to get back to you, but Caitlin gets the emails and she a lot of times does know the answer to the questions. If she doesn't, then she comes directly to us and we can help you out with that. Thank you, Caitlin. She dropped a link to the Kent milk paint. She's under her Caitlin chamber, so she must still be waiting for her Smith's pickup.
Oh.
I totally like spaced that I ordered groceries yesterday, and luckily Zeb hadn't left yet for the garden because he woke up to go to the garden and he opened the door and there was like my grocery order.
Yeah, all that weeding I did in that video, I didn't even show very much of the actual weeding, but you can get a feel for how much it was. All of that we did, like we came back from Alabama and like the grass had sprouted up all over the place. So
did you pull the grass out of that front bed, or are you gonna wait till
leave
more
it
seeds
until
get
those
up?
flowers come up more, because I'm worried
thinking.
I'll just pull flowers up left and right if I get all that grass.
That's
and I
what
may
thinking.
just like pinch it off at the top and let the flowers grow up, and then
Yeah, the flowers. Once your stuff gets big enough, it kind of like stops the weeds from growing, if that makes sense. Just got to give it a chance. I don't know what to do about that grass though, because it's just like such a pain in the butt.
You got to really just get in there with that little 3-prong rake that I've got.
I'm wondering if after the season, if we can dig out those beds where the grass is and lay something down.
Yeah,
like
my mom does cardboard.
Cardboard, then put dirt over the top of it.
But I'm worried it'll just break down in the grass and it'll eventually grow back up through.
Sorry, I'm just like touching this up.
So this is trellis rose that I'm using.
Do we have sandpaper out, sweetie?
Not yet.
I've just done these 2 little projects, but I'm
just
also not feeling great, so I'm not
just
sharp
done the one
today.
box. Okay. So I'm going to paint these in trellis rose. Oh, can you grab me the extra bond? I did want to. These are a little shinier.
I'm gonna have to go to the garage to get
I
sandpaper.
wanted to
There's
show
nothing
them
here.
using the extra bond and see if we can get a little chippy on this.
I don't think that you can. I don't think that you can get this big a bond, but maybe
I think they can get a gallon.
we've had this forever. I don't hardly use bond. Like it says to use, is it 1-to-1 or 2-to-1? I use a splash of bond in most things.
All right, so it says improves adhesion to previously painted, finished, and non-porous surfaces when using milk paint. Thoroughly clean the surface, mix up your milk paint as directed, add extra bond to the mixed milk paint. 2-part paints to 1-part bond, allow 24 hours for the second coat of milk paint to dry, and then second coat it. And then after that, you shouldn't require any extra bond on any other coats. You can just mix it up regular without adding the extra bond if you want to wait that 24 hours with the first coat.
Hi, Jamie and Zeb. What color would you choose to go? A very pale light blue. I know I can add white as well. Is it Hank blue?
Yes,
Hank
that's very
blue.
light blue.
It's very light blue. You can always add white swan to it, but Hank blue is a light blue without being a baby blue. That would be my suggestion. And let's see. Nikki says, fantastic to encourage your children to be entrepreneurs, even if for a short time. We grew up, like my dad was a self-employed general contractor. Zeb's dad has always had some sort of side hustle going on. So it's kind of like in our blood. And we have always been doing, like I've been a reseller for years. It used to be like a consignment stores and things, but it's such a great way. Like even if it's not your full-time gig, it's good to be able to know how to come up with cash for something.
You can see how creamy this is getting with this little immersion blender. It's doing a good job. And I don't have to have like a big old, or not immersion blender, frother. And I don't have to have a big immersion blender.
Oh, I missed this whole side.
It's especially handy for mixing up these small batches. I'm really enjoying it now that we got a regular battery in there.
The wood knife holders would be cute with paint and IOD. I haven't done them because I'm just not a knife block person. You'll notice I don't have one. My knives actually all get stored in that drawer. So I just haven't really thought about redoing. Zeb's wanted to redo knife blocks for a while. And we probably could just seal it up with like final finishes or whatever. I started putting my knives in a drawer when my oldest was little because out of sight, out of mind. I'm not saying that my kids are perfect because even after we moved into this, some kid, probably Jack, cut my butcher block countertops when we first moved in. He was like 6
when we moved in here.
And also my cabinets in the pantry have some cut marks on them. And
no one's fessing up to it, but we have a good idea.
No, it's Jack. He's like, I didn't do it myself, so maybe Redrick did it too. I don't know. But when we installed these quartz countertops, I told the boys if there were any knife marks in them that I would be taking the Xbox, running it over with my car, and never replacing it. So I feel like that was an adequate And they know that I'm going to, if I
may need to let
I
this
will
sit.
execute that threat. It needs to be thicker.
It got frothy.
Yeah, you should
from
let it
the
sit.
frother. I'm going to add a little more paint to it. We'll just stir this up with a fork and see what happens. It's all foamy.
He says, I bought all the bespoke colors and can't wait to use them. It's a hard line to walk when you sell paint, but not that paint. Have you tried to sign up to sell milk paint? If you do, make sure you tell Sasha that I referred you, because I do get a slight little kickback. If you sign up to sell DIY paint or Sweet Pickets milk paint and you learned about it through us, let them know that we referred you, because we get a little kickback for that. I can say that both companies are good to work for. There's a lot of different companies in the industry, and I don't know them specifically, but I can say that the companies I work for, it's not just because the product's amazing. It's because I truly trust and believe in the brand itself. And I am close personal friends with Iron Orchid Designs. Both Josie and Sally have cell phone numbers, text them. Debbie, obviously, we're close. We go hang out with her when we go to California. Sasha, I have known her since before she had a milk paint line, and she used to paint with Sherwin-Williams, like latex paint. We've known each other for years and years. Just all really great, honest people. It's been obviously I can't vouch for them their entire life. I can just say my experiences with them have been really good. And when you can work with any company, I always want to work for a company that I can trust and stand behind. It's just really important to me. There's more to life than just money to be made. All right. Lightly distress this with 320. I think 320 was the right call because this was really slick. And I feel like if I had used a lower number, it might have peeled it instead of just a light distress on it. So we usually use between 220 and 320. Let's see. Is milk paint the only paint that might be food safe? So Salvation Solution would be fine under the milk paint, and then milk paint over the top. Just make sure your final products on top are food safe. Now, if it's like a crib and a kid might be biting it, I can't tell you with a surety that Salvation Solution is food safe. I have no reason to believe that it's not, but it hasn't been USDA bio certified. And the milk paint, the hemp oil, and the tongue oil are all food safe, USDA bio certified. So I can tell you that if I was painting a crib, I would probably use milk paint and then seal it up with either tongue oil or hemp oil, because kids are, at least our kids, they're gnawers, they chew on stuff.
So I'm trying not to fling, but I got a little fling on Jamie there.
Oh, Vicky says she's got another booth coming up. Well, the opening order for milk paint is significantly less than DIY paint. So I can't remember exactly what it is because it's been so long and I'm sure it's changed. But if you do decide you want to sell milk paint, email Sasha, tell her that I referred you, and then find out what that opening order is. It'll give you something to work towards. Okay. I mean, I will sell it to you. You don't have to sign up to sell it, but for resellers, I always like you guys to get the best value and make the most money. I'm going to trace this, get the yard in this, and then I've got another little frame over here that we thrifted that I just need to put some frame in. So I'm going to use this printable in both frames. So I need to make sure that I leave enough for this frame as well.
So hopefully you guys can see this good on camera. This will give you a pretty good idea of what painting the first coat of milk paint. And I didn't mix in with the frother the second time because I didn't want it getting even frothier. So
Is that a word, frothier?
Frothier. It's the frothiest. So I do have a couple little chunks in here, which is fine. That's just going to add to my chippy finish that I hopefully get a little chipping on here. But that'll give you an idea of like the first coat. It's not going to like blow your mind.
I would put that outside to dry.
Yeah, I might in just a second.
Because that was so shiny. You don't want to have to try to heat gun that.
But got two examples here, like two really shiny things, and then that box that I did outside.
You do have to have a brick and mortar to sell DIY paint. I have heard about some people, if they have a huge online presence, being able to sell DIY paint without a brick and mortar. Milk paint, I don't believe you have to have a brick and mortar. Now, I wouldn't hold me to it because I have not signed up for a billion years, but when I started selling milk paint, I did not have a brick and mortar.
7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, I did not have a brick and mortar when I started with milk paint.
It's been a minute. I forgot what I was looking for. Are you?
Do you have scissors, sweetie?
I'm like, what is she looking for? She's like in all the drawers over there.
I can't find them.
No,
I know there's some up in the laundry room.
Might have to go run.
I'm just
there.
gonna
I don't
take
know
a
where
walk
they
about.
all go to because
We were gone. So
because we had like 10 pairs of scissors when we were doing the cabinets, and now we have none. But all right, well, I will sit here and chat at you because I got nothing to do. Maybe I'll try to heat gun this and see if we can get it to chip a little bit. I don't have a lot to do. I was going to go grab my thing, but I don't want to leave you hanging here alone without anybody. Let's see if I can read comments and heat gun this. Caitlin said, I've heard of some people having issues with chunks using the frother, but I think if the water is the right temp, you'll be good. Yeah, warm water when you're mixing it up. And I also don't, we usually mix up with like a fork or a whisk, and you're going to get chunks, and we welcome the chunks because it chips good where you get chunks. Also, if you heat gun your milk paint, it's the wild, wild west. You don't know what you're going to get. Could chip, could not chip, could all chip.
hope that I have.
We're going to see what we get here.
I think I might just
crackle.
barely have this big enough. I might have to use another paper. I'm not on my A game today.
It should hide though, because it's just a little circle in there, isn't it?
Yeah,
oh,
well, no, this is for
one.
this. I was trying to save enough to do 2, but I think I might have just gone a little bit too much. It's fine. I have other papers.
So far, the bond seems to be holding well. This is pretty well dry, so I can get a second coat on here. I am not going to wait the 24 hours. We will.
Caitlin is also our retail director for JRV stencils, decoupage paper, and stencil brushes. So she is the one who you get to talk with if you decide to carry any of those products. And you can go to jrvwholesale.com to sign up for those. Just keep in mind that JRV is a very micro mini company. So we come out with stuff when we come out with stuff, and we manufacture everything either in-house or the brushes come from New York, and then we have a stencil manufacturer in Michigan. But it's not always like regularly scheduled releases. We let you know ahead of time. All right, I think that turned out.
We do have a lot of products, though.
We do. That's why I think I haven't come out with more stencils for a while, is because we do have so many. Look at that. What is that?
Looks like a flick of milk paint. It's just adding to your piece there.
It's fine. I'll fix it. They like trellis rose. It is a really good pink. Yeah, the stencil brushes are really good. We have good stock of them. I actually need to double check though, because our manufacturer takes, like I said, small family business. They take off like 3 weeks, the end of June and into July, which is usually a slower time of year. Okay, let me heat gun this all the way, and then we'll have our little thing finished. And I will actually, even though this has this little staples in the back, I'm also going to hot glue this art in place so that way it doesn't come out. Yeah, we have 4th of July stencils. We have every holiday. I don't think I have any like St. Patrick's Day. That might be the only one, but we might. Maybe I have so many stencils I don't even know.
They probably got some sort of cover or something.
We have hundreds of stencils. And Debbie designed stencils for us too, so we have like some good bohemian ones. We need to do Debbie's paper.
Oh, we did.
We need to take a break.
I need to call her and be like,
Catch
hey,
a
when
breath.
are you ready and not coming out with something?
I think she's got a thing with Dion coming up in the next couple of weeks.
She's got a retreat.
But yeah. I bet when she gets back, we could focus on that. We need to do it before we go to Wyoming in July.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a bunch of brainstorming when we were out there in April, and it's still just a brainchild on my computer.
Do you think I'm too late to open a booth for resale? I'm 58. Oh, heck no.
Nope.
We have so many people that message us all the time. They're like, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, or even 70s. We have people that were like, I'm on Social Security and I need an extra side hustle. Started watching you guys, learned how to do some things, and now I'm making extra money. I do think you need to make sure that you're not getting in over your head. Don't waste money. Like, start out small. Make sure that you have done your research on your area. Go, if you're going to sell at a booth, go look in the antique mall, see what things are selling for, and know that that's probably the price point that you'll need to stay within. And when you're buying things to resell, make sure that you can make enough profit based off of what things are selling for in that antique mall. And if you can even be just slightly under the average price, especially as a beginner, then you can get some customers who start to follow you and like your stuff. And I would start on like Instagram and Facebook for whatever your booth name is, and then constantly remind people where they can find the things that you're sharing, and just kind of start from there. But if you have a booth you can sell from that has good walk-in traffic, sometimes you don't have to do your own marketing. I've never been blessed with that. Everywhere I've ever been, I've had to get my own walk-in traffic.
Oh, I think I see a shake. Nope, she's eating it. She's eating. That's just a drink.
Well, Redrick just got here. Hey, Redrick. We're live. How was football? You apparently didn't need shoes because you didn't text me.
No, I just ran the gases.
Hey, don't forget to mow.
Okay.
Did you bring me a shake? Oh, you went to In-N-Out.
Did you bring me
not
food?
Arctic Circle.
No, I didn't know you wanted anything. You didn't put in your order.
That's okay. I don't care. Did you get Luke some food?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you didn't make Luke starve. She did my football pickup today. All right. We are almost done with project number 1. Michelle says, I am 57 and just started a booth 3 months ago and having a great time. That's awesome. Oh, I'd love to see animals for the stencil monthly subscription. That would be fun. I think I could do that. I have some already designed up so I could just change the format. Okay, so here's this little setup here. I am going to go ahead and paint the back of this. I realize that it will be visible with the current setup. This was not together in the thrift store. This said families are forever, and then this was separate. But I put them together and sold them for $29.95 for the set.
That looks way better.
Way better.
Did your picture work? Oh, it fit in fine.
No, it looks awesome. It looks like a miniature of a very large piece of art.
Look, you can't even tell that that's not like a real watercolor.
Yeah. Can you hand that back though? I'm gonna get started painting the back on this. I don't think I'm gonna paint the cardboard just because I think that'll look weird. But I am gonna paint the frame.
All right, I'm gonna go put these outside so they can get good and dry on the second coat. Looks like it's gonna take 3 to cover up this white.
Yeah, it took me 3 coats and a little bit to cover up this black shiny situation, but I'm just going to do 1 coat and then I might circle back to this. I don't want to take off the cleat just in case whoever gets it decides to hang this on the wall later, but I'll paint it so it kind of melts. And like I said, I will afterwards come in with some hot glue just to secure that in. Highland cow stencils. I feel like we do have Highland cow stencils.
Cody, come on. Stop wearing out my grass.
And I'm not feeling great, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But if you go on JamieRayVintage.com, just go in the little search bar and type in cow stencil, and it should pop up if we have them. Okay.
All right. So if you're just joining, this is bespoke milk paint in Kent and the stenciled in ironstone.
Oh, are you not going to go all the way to the edge? You're just doing the middle?
I am going to do it. I just am going to try to get them to a point where they can see at least one side finished. I'm going to oil wax over it.
No, I just didn't know if you weren't doing like. See
oh, the edge? Yeah, no, I'm not going all the way to the edge.
You need to finish this though. It looks weird.
I'm going to distress it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going all the way to the edge because the stencil, it has a lip here on this box. And I'd have to cut the stencil, and I'm not going to do that. Too soon to cut it. But you can see I did get some chipping or crackle in here, even on this raw wood, which is perfect.
We have not listed that box yet, so we'll get that up later today. We did thrift it, but it's not from a thrift haul. Zeb used it for me. So, all right, I need do we have a blade? I need to clean that glass.
Oh, yeah, over there.
Huh? blade is like ancient of days. We need to replace the razor blade in this. What is the black hole? It's
just a knot. It's a knot hole that's missing in this.
Be careful, but you can use a razor blade to get paint off glass. Always go at an angle.
All right, so we got some kerf marks showing from the wood underneath from being sawn.
I actually did a pretty good job of not really getting the paint on the glass, just a little tiny bit. I probably would have been okay even not cleaning it up because unless you looked really close, you wouldn't notice.
So that powdered really nice. Just gonna damp cloth wipe all the dust from sanding off.
Thank you for sharing, Judy. Sometimes just the Windex will take the paint off, but a razor blade really cleans it off. I just try to be as neat as possible, and then I don't have to take off quite so much.
Kids ate a lot of eggs while we were gone.
That is all done. I know we need to go. I'm sure there's some in the coop.
There's
Richard and Angie took care of our birds, but they don't need that many eggs.
They also mowed the grass and weed
I
whacked
know.
it while they're being real extra neighbors.
I was so excited when I got home and we didn't have to mow the shop lawn because we knew it was going to be bad because we didn't get it done right before we left.
Well,
and they not only mowed it, but they weed whacked it for us.
It's a lot of grass. It's like a half acre. Okay, dark oil wax. Also a Sweet Pickens product, but not on sale. Not with the sale right now.
Okay.
This might be a little bit darker finish. It's gonna really soak down into this raw wood and the paint.
I'm gonna have to be super careful, but I can get this without, like, it'll just fit in my frame. We have to tape it in place so that way it doesn't slide.
Okay, I got pretty good coverage there. I know, it looks like I may have ruined it, right?
What did you do?
That'll lighten up a little bit, but you can see all the kerf marks, some of the chipping in the milk paint. Let me turn the lights on back over on the back side. We're all dark in here today. See if that brightens it up a little bit. But that's just one stencil repeated a few times.
They said gorgeous. What print are you using the frame? This is from the printables in May for channel membership. So if you are a YouTube channel membership or on Facebook, it's called JRV subscribers. You get 2 digital images that you have to print yourself included in your membership. And this is one of them. If you have any questions on how to sign up for that, you can also email Caitlin. I'm like very carefully cutting this at info@jamierayvintage.com. And it's JAMIRAYvintage.com. And then Caitlin can help you get signed up for that because this is digital, but you would have to print it out yourself. It's not one that we sell. I think that should be okay because it's got like these little lead lips that hold the picture in place. I will see here in a second. I think I'm going to tape it. Let me make sure that's fine. All right, I'm going to tape it.
It was starting to thicken up on me. I made it super thick and to stencil with, and it was already in a half hour since I stenciled last. It's starting to get solid, but a little water. So almost all of the products we use are like water based and all natural. So you can like thin them with water or let them dry out a little bit. Bring them back if you need to. If your paint gets a little thicker than you wanted it to. Oh, my milk paint is crackling on this plastic. You can see on the stencil it's like crackling and chipping off. Let me see if I can get that off. It's like sticking to my stencil brush. There we go.
It needs a little bit more over there.
A lot of it came off.
They said you did a perfect distress.
Oh, thank you.
It is so good. Seb is good at his job.
It's like my favorite thing to make things that aren't actually old look old.
Well, the box was made with barnwood.
Yeah, it is old like cedar barnwood. I do have that going for me.
All right, there is this. I had just enough. It perfectly fits in my frame. I'm going to clean that glass real quick. Seb's mom doesn't look her age. She does look very young. She gets kept young by the fact that she had a late life baby, and that late life baby lives with her 3 babies. So
yeah,
it keeps her young. Kind of like I feel like my
38
mom.
when my little sister Maddie was born, and my little sister Maddie is like she's living with them out there in Alabama, and with her 3 babies, and just had a brand new little tiny one. She's what, 5 weeks old?
I don't know, but why is this longer than this?
4 weeks old. It is. I don't know why. It's like they made a thrift store marriage on us.
Oh, we might need to cut that.
Yeah, we'll just cut it
With an X-Acto knife.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
How come I'm just barely realizing this?
I don't know. I knew it was like that.
Well, it's mostly done, except for the fact that we're going to X-Acto knife the bottom of this off so it fits. And I also think I want to put like a little piece of cardboard behind it to like make it tight fitting, but there we go. All right, what else needs to be done? Oh, I have this to paint. Do you have bond added to anything?
Yes, the
pink. I don't really
trellis
want to paint
rose.
this pink.
Well,
Let me clean this
I don't
brush.
really have anything else mixed up. I used up all of my
Okay.
other ones, and I made a very little amount of this.
I might take the
so.
Kent and put bond in that.
I do have Kent. I do have a Kent cup that you could use. It just doesn't really have any paint in it.
What did you say, sweetie?
I do have a Kent cup you can use.
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna use that.
So I always pounce till all of the excess is off for sure, and then you can start swirling.
Oh, that's a lot.
What
Too
other
late now
projects
because
do you need?
I don't know, but not that much. Because this is not a very big picture that I'm painting. Plus, I got to add bond, so that'll add volume to my. Where's your frother?
It's up there somewhere. It's right there.
I actually think a fork is really just going to be fine. The frother is a nice idea, but a fork and a cup really work for small amounts too.
Well, you know, it's crazy to me. We all think we're young until we're not, right? Like my baby sister, she's going to be 32 this year. And my parents have like 18 grandchildren now or something like that.
Yeah.
But this might be their last grandchild because she's the youngest.
And everybody's already had their
and
kids.
Everybody else is like pretty much done having babies. And I think this is her last one. She's going to at least put a big pause at number 3. She's busy and she works in HR, and she's going to try to work from home, but she's got another 3 weeks before she's got to go back to work, and she's not looking forward to that.
She had them babies close together, so
yeah, she did.
She needs to give herself a little bit of a break. I started having babies at 19, so I was in no rush. So my kids are nice and separated. I do have one gap that's just over 2 years, but everybody else is 3 to 4 years
in between
apart.
Redrick and Eliza. And of all
Yeah.
the siblings, they probably argue the most because
Well,
they're like
they're both-
super close together.
Because they're teenagers. When they were younger, I felt like they got along better. Give them a little bit.
They're okay. They don't like fight nonstop. They're good.
Odelia and Harrington didn't get along forever, and now they're good friends. And Eliza and Odelia get along pretty well. So this is just Kent, and I added Bond to it because I have no idea. Whoever had this before me painted it, but I have no idea what they painted it with. So. See, Howard says, my wife is opening a booth on June 6th, just part-time passion project, but she loves vintage space and she is 56. I think it's a great idea, especially if you love vintage and antiquing and thrifting, because there will come a point when you have more things than you know what to do with if you thrift a lot and you don't want to become a hoarder. So if you're a reseller, it then becomes inventory and you can swap out your own stuff frequently without feeling guilty about getting rid of stuff because you could just sell it. I do that all the time. Like I keep something for a while, then I decide I want to do something else and I just sell whatever it is that I have. And resellers, depends on what you resell, but you can resell purses, you can resell cute clothes, there's lots of things you can circulate besides just home decor. So keep that in mind.
I'm about to start doing backpacks. Watch for them. Maybe this week.
Zeb's been told that if he doesn't start selling them, he can't buy anymore.
I feel like since we already have the Thursday video filmed and you didn't go to camp because you're sick, I feel like we have once we get stuff shipped out, we have a little breath of air before July.
Yeah, I was thinking at the end of Thursday's video though that we might run over to Goodwill and finish those cloche projects. Like I have the Sunday cups, I have the cloches. Oh, yes. I just need the plates and then whatever knobs we're gonna put on top. I just moved them twice out there
in the garage this
morning. I
have
4 projects that we need to finish, so they would be good to put on the end of that video. Maybe we'll run over to Goodwill. I don't know how much footage we have from Alabama.
I have a lot.
We have a decent amount. I even filmed when we went to eat and I got shrimp and grits and Zeb got chicken and waffles. We didn't film a ton when we were with the family not just because our family doesn't mean they want to be on our YouTube channel. Zeb's mom's pretty good about it, but
my mom doesn't mind. She's been on the channel for years now.
Yeah. There's some YouTubers that film everybody that works for them, their whole family. We do not do that. We do have a disclosure document because we might be filming in the shop, and if you walk through, you might be in it. But I'm not specifically filming any of our employees. Caitlin's been on the channel a few times. It's been a while because now she's has it been 5 years? She moved about a half hour away, 20 minutes away. Where did she live before? She lived out in Saratoga before. Oh, yeah. That's been a long time. And then she moved to Orem, and then she moved to Vineyard. And she's been in, I think, that place in Vineyard for about 4 years now. But anyway, Caitlin doesn't live super close. I mean, it's not terribly far. If she needs to run into the shop, she can. But, if she needs to, 100% of her job is online. She doesn't need to come into the shop. If she comes in, it's usually because she wants to check something out or look at inventory or talk to someone about something. But it's not a requirement for her day to day. Pre-COVID, she said they were in Saratoga for 9 months. Gail says we keep adding foster grandchildren. We actually we're very, very close to adding 2 toddlers to our gaggle of children. They were cousins of ours. It didn't work out. It's a long story, very personal. And they wound up being adopted by their foster parents instead of going with the family. But we still stay very much in touch with them. Yeah, we see them and are very much involved. We've been seeing them about twice a month right now. Yeah, we're as involved with them as we're allowed to be, which has been a huge blessing for us. We love, we have lots of little cousins and nieces and nephews and stuff that we just help out with. I think that all kids need a village. Raising kids is hard. Parents need a village. Our kids are getting older. We don't have grandkids yet, and there's no reason that we can't help out with.
Well, you guys are all talking about like when's a good age to start doing thrifting. So Jack will graduate when I'm 50. He'll graduate high school. And Jamie and I want to maybe be to a point where we can step back, but I don't know that we're ever going to stop like thrifting and junking and reselling.
It may just be different.
My hope
more
is
employees.
that someone comes along or one of the kids or something that really like wants to just run it, and then we can be like, hey, we found this while we were shopping, throw it in the shop.
The thing is, like, you can't, a lot of people say, oh, we could do shopping for you. You wouldn't think it, but like there is a certain je ne sais quoi, like to thrifting and curating a look. So it's not like you can just have somebody take over and do all your thrifting. Plus I feel like people really enjoy the whole gamut of we find it, we sell it, that kind of a thing. But I think it would be nice to have even more employees, more like salaried employees that do a lot more to the day-to-day. And so we're working on getting to that. That's part of why we have the studio that's coming into the shop.
Realistically, I'm just going to dump everything on Caitlin and shop. You ready for that, Caitlin?
I don't think Caitlin's quite ready for that, but we will hire.
I'm not ready for that. I like the day-to-day stuff.
We're not financially ready there, but I think we can get there. We have grown to a point, like we don't really ship anymore. We have employees that do that. We don't work shifts at the shop. People are surprised to know that we very rarely actually work in the shop. In fact, I do so infrequently. I'm not really good at checking people out.
Don't know how to run the point of sale.
Yeah. But I do love junking and thrifting and all that. So,
I mean, we set that all up at one point in time, but then even that, like when we transferred shops, Caitlin came and set that up. And so I'm like, I don't even know the password to this thing.
Oh, Gail says, I'm blessed that we get to watch our former foster daughter once a week. She's about to be adopted by her bio grandma. They look at us as her grandparents now. That is so sweet. I'm so glad that she got to be with her bio grandma. And there's so many layers to foster adoption, so much more than people even realize, so many more people behind the scenes. I think sometimes people think, well, how come there wasn't family that was available? And there are times when family is, like, we just were notified too late. We missed it by like 15 days from the cutoff. And the system moves, I will be honest, the system moves really slow, and they should have moved faster in the beginning, but it kind of got to the point where they had just been where they were too long. And that was not because of us. And I think that the state of Utah is working on getting better, because there's no reason that, even though we weren't mentioned until like 2 weeks past the deadline, they couldn't have found family, us or other people, but they just weren't set up for it. And Utah is trying to get better at kinship care. There may be a time when you see me getting very involved in that in our state, because I am pretty passionate about that. And
Jamie
I know there's room
wants
for
to protect all the babies.
All the babies, all my babies.
So this hole here is throwing everybody, this one here is throwing everybody off. That's like a knot hole. See? It's like a little worm in an apple.
All children deserve to be loved and safe. And I feel like there's enough good humans in the world that we can do it. Things just need to be ran a little bit better. Utah actually surprisingly has had a lot of crap with DCFS. Like, they've actually been sued and lost on a federal level and have been under federal mandate and watch quite a bit. So they are trying to up their game. I actually went as far as to contact our representative that wrote the foster care kinship legislation and work with them. And I know that they are working to improve that. Gail says, until you're part of it, you have no idea how complex it is. Oh yeah. So, and also, like, there's not a lot of help. There's help for foster parents, there's help for bio parents, a little bit of help for grandparents, but if you're just cousins, like, we had to completely navigate it by ourselves. DCFS helped out this much until we barked all the way up to the person just under the head for the state. And then we got some help. But by then I feel like it was already too far past, but we didn't know. Like, we were just working our way up, doing our best, calling whoever we can call. We hired an attorney to try to help us out, but by that point I think it was just too far into the process. But the good news is they're healthy and happy, and we are involved in their lives.
And they're with good people.
And they're with good people.
That we have a good relationship.
That we have a relationship.
Like, we're having them over for Sunday dinner.
Yeah. which I feel like says a lot because at one point we were on opposite ends of the courtroom, you know, but at the end of the day, when you say, I want what's best for the kids, that should never change. If you don't get what you want, you should not be just negative and unavailable. You just still do whatever is best for the kids with whatever the legal situation is. And you either show up or you shut up. That's my opinion. So there's your little TED talk from Jamie Ray. Oh yeah, the kinship gives stipends here too. We actually told them we didn't need a dime. We would take care of everything. We didn't need a stipend. We didn't need it, but it is nice that they are starting to give stipends because there is family that cannot afford to foster their own family because they can't financially afford it. So they should be given stipends to help take care of that. So I'm glad.
Well, and usually it's a surprise. It never.
Yeah,
happens.
usually it's not like you can plan for that. Yeah,
it's usually not like something that's planned, right?
Definitely not on our end, but we were, you guys, for a while we were saying we were going through hard stuff and we were kind of busy. We actually had like visitation like once a week. So we had to have our weeks done by Friday. If you were ever wondering what was going on for about a year, that's it. That's what was happening behind the scenes. And they are super adorable. And I love it too, because I'm close enough that I can say, hey, I want to buy the kids new shoes, or I want to get them this, that, or the other thing. And they give me sizes. Eliza is really close. Like all my kids are really close to them. And it's fun. And they came over, actually, what was really sweet, they came over on Mother's Day with cheesecake for me. So that way we could see the babies. And that meant a lot. I thought that was really sweet. I wasn't expecting it. I was just sitting here and Zeb was making a chocolate cake. And Zeb's like, I think that they're here. And I turn around. I won't mention their names out of privacy. And I just saw them all on the front porch with our cousins, their other foster kids that they have, and their foreign exchange student. And I was just like really touched by that they would come on Mother's Day for me to see those babies. They're not babies anymore.
No.
They're full on toddlers, almost not even toddlers.
Getting ready to start school.
Yeah. But they're still babies. Still babies. All right, I'm getting there. So this side note, I'm painting this with Kent and I added extra bond to it. And it's covering pretty well. It's not all chipped. And I didn't want it to chip off because this is pottery and it's working well. So if you have glass, pottery, metal, like shiny metal, bond will help it stick.
Today's been a fun day. We talked about a lot of fun things today.
Yeah. Caitlin says she still calls her adult nieces babies. That is true. Caitlin is still, I was 10 years old when Caitlin was born. So she was the first niece or nephew that I had that I really got to be an auntie to. Because I was such a late life baby, I had like nephews older than me. And I remember when she was little, I used to like watch her sleep because she was just the most beautiful baby. And her older sister, who was, my playmate, was like, are you ever going to put that baby down? Because Desi was probably 7 when
she's
Caitlin
only
was
a
born.
couple years younger than
7. You. And I was only 10 and she didn't understand why I just loved this baby so much, but I did. And I still do.
These are going outside.
That's probably also why I love what I do at church so much, because I get 50 or 60 babies. Some of them are not babies anymore, and I teach them music, and it's fun. All right, this is almost dry. Zeb, I think I'm going to have you seal this up with dark oil wax after I lightly distress it.
I'm ready.
Well, the other thing that we've learned is like how to keep in touch. So we're only related to the dad in our situation, and we have been able to build a relationship with their mom and help her out and support her. And it's been a learning experience for us. But we told her, we're family. Like if you and the dad had worked out, you would be our cousin too. So to me, you're still our cousin. So let's work together. Oh, I'm still my mom's baby and I'm 42 and she lives with me.
And she still wants to take care of you. If Jamie's got something going on, like she's sick today, her mom is going to yell at her all day to like, go lay down, stop working, go rest.
True story. I don't recommend heat gunning your milk paint because it can all chip off, but we're on live TV and I really just need to get this finished. And it seems to be working okay. I want it to be pretty dry before I lightly distress it. Oh, Eliza has to be to get to girls camp at 6 a.m. She's going to be so happy about that.
Shh, don't tell her that.
I'm going to let you be in charge of dropping her off.
We'll get her packed tonight. That's tomorrow. We'll deal with that tomorrow. I'll just wake her up and be like, time to go.
I was supposed to maybe go to camp, but they didn't have room for me. And now I'm kind of glad they
so
didn't.
They're in like a designated campground and there's only like so many beds and bunks. And Jamie's not officially a youth leader. And so she was just going to come as extra help. And they already had more than they could.
They didn't have space for me. Last year, Zeb and I both went, and it was like a combined camp, but it was intense, so it was different. There was plenty of space. I'm gonna let this cool, and then I'm gonna.
Well, I asked, I'm like, can I run the camper up for you? But there's not place at the camp for it.
Yeah. I like to involve myself in stuff, even though I'm not in charge of it. That's just how I am.
Okay, this is the side without the hole. That stencil, the repeating pattern on that is really fun and classic. This looks like it could be old wallpaper. I'm going to finish this side here. I'm going to go in the middle and then I'll bring it over and finish the ends because I don't have that lip here. This one has the lip, so I can't go past, which is why we have like this kind of line of delineation there. But on this side, I can just cover the whole thing, I think.
I went a little thick there with that paint. Let's heat gun that. Ava says, I'm a retired teacher. I hear you. Love those babies. Yeah, they're always your babies. I actually have my gifted and talented education teacher. It's Gate in California. She just retired like a few years ago, and she still remembers all of us. And then I had another teacher that was really influential in my life that I kind of kept touch with on Facebook, and she still remembers us.
I'd probably say one of my favorite teachers would probably have to be
all right, this is ready
Miss
for
Opitz or also Mr. Jones. Miss Opitz taught biology and Mr. Jones taught English, and I love both.
Donna says, I went back to teaching after a year of child welfare. I always wanted to be there for children. Gail says, not everyone is called to foster, but there are lots of ways to support people. Yes, there is lots of ways to support people and support the family, support this system. They need lots of help. Even if it's just donations, usually you can find your local foster care situation and they will let you know what is needed for these kids. And there's lots of things that we all can do. And I feel like if everybody does what they can do, then lots of needs can be met, not just for foster care, but just things in general. It's kind of like we went to Alabama and we spent 3 days doing lots and lots of work with his parents. And then we came home and we're pretty tired and now I'm sick. But yet our neighbors, without being asked, took care of our yard at the shop. And so that was a need of ours met without even being asking. And it's like we met the needs of his parents, our neighbors met the needs of us, and it's like a domino effect. Foster closets, oh yeah, become a CASA, an advocate. A CASA advocate is amazing. Help out with anyone you know fostering. Yeah, you can also offer, depending on where you're at, you can also like help for local foster parents with like babysitting, or you can get approved for respite care. Lots of things. Gail said backpacks are one need. I bet we can donate some backpacks to foster care. I can contact that caseworker.
I have some really cool ones.
I could contact the caseworker that isn't really my best friend after having to deal with me. But
yeah,
she would still give us information on how to help.
Yeah, she would.
She wasn't pleased with me.
Or I still got her supervisor's number, so it's fine.
I called her out a lot and made her do her job.
She came around.
She's just been there a long time. I think long before kinship care was really a thing.
Well, we came in.
And so we really made her life uncomfortable.
We came in and rocked her boat pretty hard.
I don't do anything halfway.
Nope. And you know what? I think it was better. She upped her game. Like she was better for those kids too.
Yeah. I think sometimes when people know that you're not messing around, then they get on their A game. And I'm not to say that they wouldn't anyways, but sometimes just making sure people know that you're there, you're watching, and you expect results makes things happen. Your boxes come out good. You want to just give me that oil wax and I'll brush it on this?
Yep.
You thought the chocolate milk was a paint? No, this is just milk and collagen powder from Costco. Collagen protein. And once you hit a certain age, well, at any age, you can never have too much collagen, but definitely over 40, you will need to find all the ways to add collagen into your life. You can use it topically, but I feel like anything that you can actually consume is going to add more nutrition and value to your body. Just my personal opinion. I'm not a doctor nor a health expert. Have you seen the Netflix? Yes, Paula. I actually saw that yesterday. I haven't watched it, but the documentary about the prisoners who make quilts for foster kids.
That actually looks like a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I haven't.
And some of those guys aren't going anywhere. Like that's all they have.
Yeah, but they're trying to like help out with society. I feel like it's so good. You know, they can't take back what they did, but they can change the future. Yeah, I haven't looked at it to see what the rating is. I don't know if there's like language in there. That's why I haven't watched it yet.
Whoops. So the sides are going sideways and the ends are going vertically.
Oh.
It'll be okay.
Does it look all right?
Yeah, you can't even tell unless you're looking at them.
Well, you can't tell anything unless you're looking at it.
Well, I mean, you can't see both sides at the same time. So you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so I'm just wiping this back. You can leave it on there longer, but when you add bond to paint, it actually does like add a little bit of sealing properties to it, if that makes sense. Kind of changes the chemistry makeup of the milk paint. But this will help seal it all the way. Yeah, Gail says, I feel for case managers because even if they want to do the right thing, sometimes the system makes it difficult. In this case, everybody else was actually super helpful. She just was not really good at responding. And we dealt with a lot of other people that were super helpful. She didn't, I should say, like, she didn't know us. She only knew the family member that we were related to and did not have a good taste in her mouth by that family member. And so I think that she was a little nervous to deal with us, and she had a soft spot for where they were already at. And so she just wasn't super helpful, but I think she'll be better now because she has to be, because we kept notes and had a 7-page timeline of how things happened. And I think there have been some changes made because of it. I think we will never know the full, like, why we were involved and what the full meaning of it was, but I think that there have been changes for the better because of it. And definitely open up their minds to people they can reach out to that would be helpful than just your standard issue. I actually think first cousins of the parents is a good option because they're like the same generation, but not so close to the parents like a sibling that they would maybe allow them too much access to the children that the state doesn't want to allow. And I think we kind of opened their minds to that.
This particular cousin growing up, we were like brothers. I saw him like crazy every summer we spent together.
But as adults, you haven't seen him a lot because of lifestyle
But he
choices.
went a separate way as an adult, and I've kept tabs on him, but
not
close enough that like
we didn't know she was in care.
Yeah.
All right. Another glorious day in Alaska for Ramona, finishing my outdoor planting so I can get back to creating.
Nice. Anytime you can plant outdoors in Alaska, you got to get that done because the weather could change on you tomorrow.
Oh, Mary Angela, did you buy this? I'm glad it turned out cute. I only went to like a certain point in the lip because it's super shiny inside, but that'll also still allow for you to actually put liquid in here without having to worry about it getting on the paint and peeling off because it's the original porcelain inside. So hopefully it works for whatever you're going to use it for. We had a great case manager in Casa at our first steps experience was also good. That's awesome. We had some really good, we used to get visits and there were a lot of really sweet people that worked in the office facilitated. We had to have supervised visits at first because they didn't know us, obviously. And that was literally the strangest experience. My heart goes out to these kids and parents having supervised visits, and they try to make them warm, but they're like vinyl couches, not such great toys.
We're behind
small
the two-way
room
glass.
with a two-way glass. We tried to make it as personable and warm as possible, but definitely a new experience for us because we've never done anything like that before. And I had a big old backpack full of snacks and toys that I knew they would like. So then whatever room we were in, we had what we needed to enjoy our visits. Eventually, we got to have unsupervised visits, and we went from there. But at the beginning, I mean, that's the only way to do it. You don't want to just take random people and let them take kids out, you know, family or not. All right, so are you done with yours?
I need to go get those candlesticks and see if they're dry. They're all chunky. They're going to need a heavy distress.
All right, we might not get those finished all the way, but here's my 3 little projects. And 1 piece of paper for both of these, so that's always a good way to stretch your thrifting dollars. Oh, these are chunky. We'll just call them textured.
Well, I think I'm going to sand them. It should just powder off.
Yeah, I'm going to sand them and then we'll go from there. Gail says it is so awkward. It is.
Well, at one point, during one of our visits, they didn't have enough caseworkers there to like come sit with us. And so the security guard for the front door came and like watched our visit. And I'm like,
he looks just like Bubbles from Lilo and Stitch.
He did. He was actually great. He was from Chicago.
He was a retired Chicago PD officer.
Yeah. You know, the dude's like way hardcore. He was just this big old mountain of a guy. And he was, when you talk to him, he was like the sweetest guy.
Well, our very first visit, they had the foster parents who did not want anybody taking the kids because they wanted to adopt them. They had them in our visit for the entire visit. And I don't think they planned it, but they like stayed in there. And the caseworker was like, well, let's just see what happens. It wound up being fine. But I was like, is this how this normally works? They're like, no, but you guys seem to be getting along. I'm like, well, we're all adults. Like, but it was a little different, I think, for both of us, because they had never had anything like that. They were relatively new in the foster care system, and they'd only ever had this placement and then the other 2 boys with them. That was interesting.
We're all learning and growing over here.
Learning and growing. If you're not growing, you're falling behind. Barbara says, I have a cousin that she's like a year older than me, and we are more like sisters. I never wanted to leave her house. I'm the only girl with 3 brothers. Yeah. So Zeb and his cousin, did you tell them how close in age you are? They're like...
We are 4 days apart.
4 days apart.
My birthday is the 20th, and his is the 24th. And we grew up together like brothers. He's the baby of his family, and I was the oldest.
And then his mom passed away when he was like 16, and then he went to live with siblings, and like things just changed.
Yeah, he got off track for a while. He does good on and off. When he's doing good, he's amazing. He's awesome, super smart. But when he's doing bad, it goes just as far the opposite way.
Well, and that's why I think his daughter is close to you, because you do remind her of her dad, because you guys are related. You have, when he's sober, you have very similar personalities. Drug and addiction is just like a whole nother world that I was never really familiar with. And this has definitely opened my eyes to it. And it's just people get caught up in it, and it's just ridiculously hard to get out of it, if even ever at all. And they want to take care of their children and love them, but they don't always have the ability to do it. They don't have the skills. So Gail says they had asked me to be a visit supervisor. I declined. Can't imagine how that would have worked. Yeah, it would have been slightly awkward, probably. It kind of depends on the situation. I feel like it should always be like caseworkers who are trained in that kind of a scenario, because this is a lot of moving parts. Subsequently, Zeb and I wound up doing a lot of research on foster care, kinship care, statistics, things like that, things we never knew. I've read more case studies and articles than I ever thought I would.
Don't worry, Jamie's just gonna run for like local
no.
government
No,
in her 50s.
no, I'm good. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just gonna be a thorn in the actual government side and try to offer them some ideas.
All right, this box. Oh, I need to oil the inside.
I'm thinking oil wax over this. I'm kind of sanding off all the little warts from the milk paint that did not get mixed up with that frother. Is that why it didn't get mixed up? Because you used a frother?
I think so. Well, and then I added more and I didn't use the frother. You want to trade me?
No.
Oh, are you happy doing that?
No, I'm good. Oil wax is like, kind of gets on my fingers and it's not my favorite. I already oil wax something else.
That's why I'm using the brush.
Frederick, we're almost done. But you just ate, didn't you? You're not starving. Well, you can wait for a peanut butter sandwich.
You should go mow because I still need that done. That's happening today. You said you needed 24 hours notice to wrap your head around that, and I did give you 24 hours notice.
He's got to eat because he has 2 days. He had weightlifting this morning, and then he's got practice at 4:30.
Oh, you better get to mowing now so you can rest after mowing.
Yeah. It's a scorcher out there.
It's like 80.
It is for us. 85.
I will say, like when we got to Alabama, it happens every time I go somewhere humid. That humidity just kind of like hits you in the face. You can like feel it. It's like a pressure and moisture and heat. And it wasn't even too bad. Like I think the hottest day while we were there was like 84 or 85. But when it's humid like that, you don't even really get relief in the shade much. Especially if you're not used to it. I've been out west like my whole life. And it is not something that I've experienced much. Like our high humidity days are like 33, 34% humidity. My dad's like, oh, it's only 64% humidity today. It's a beautiful day. So some people have asked if I'm from Alabama. I'm from Arizona. My parents transplanted out there about 6 years ago, and they've got a little farm out there that they got going.
We'll call it a ranchette.
Yeah, they got 33 acres and an old hunting cabin that they live in, and
they're making cute.
Yeah, they just got it all repainted on the inside before everybody came out for Mom's birthday. My dad has 6 cows, but he's going down to like 2 cows, I think. He's like, people just kept giving him cows, and he's like, yeah, he's milking 3 cows right now, twice a day.
And there's only 3 adults and 3 very small children.
I'm like, Dad, you don't even need the milk from 1 cow. He's like, oh, well, I'm feeding it to the pigs. I'm like, you don't even need those pigs.
He's not in super great physical shape. He has a hard time walking.
Well, he broke his legs a bunch, like several, like we're talking like bad breaks, like pins and stuff when he was a kid, and all that nerve damage is coming back to bite him in his 70s.
Oh, Barbara says that she's 65. She's been raising her grandchildren for 4 years. My daughter passed away from an accidental overdose. My granddaughter is now 21 and my grandson is 10, but he has lots of problems since her death. Hopefully he's in really good therapy. That is something that we're working with now that our cousins have been moved to permanent guardianship. They don't have as many resources. So I'm trying to work with their permanent guardians, which were their foster parents, to help them get the therapy and care that they need. They do need a lot of follow-up care. It's really critical. Each child that has been fostered, kinship care, adopt, all those things, their story is so unique, and every one of them has unique things that they need help with. A lot of times people think that once they get adopted or grandparents take them, whatever, it's like happily ever after, but you can't ever discount the trauma of being removed from parents, whether by their death or by the state.
Usually all these kids have seen stuff
they've seen stuff that babies shouldn't have had to see, and dealt with stuff they shouldn't have to deal with. And that needs to be acknowledged throughout their life.
Well, even like the death of a parent.
Yeah. All right, Deb, I think this is ready for dark oil wax.
You ready?
Yeah. Yeah, you see those like little heartwarming videos where the kids hold up the signs. I was in foster care 462 days before I got adopted, and they make the kids smile. And if you've ever done that, sorry if I hurt any feelings, but that always breaks my heart because I'm just like, that is a very personal part of their life. And while we're so glad that they were adopted and they have a forever family, I just don't know that parading kids around and talking about that is just like the best thing for them. I think it's very personal, and they need to make the decision how much the world knows about them.
Well, and for some of those kids,
it was very traumatic.
It's the start of a new family and a new like era for them, but it's also the end of one.
No matter the age, it is very traumatic for them. Being in foster care, just even if it's a good experience, is traumatic. See you later, MB.
All right, we're about to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're almost there. I'm just going to finish sanding this a little bit smooth. I think all those little spots that were kind of chunky before that got sanded off will make it look even better.
It has like a really fun texture on it now. Don't discount the milk paint chunks because they can add to your piece.
Yeah, don't freak out. If the milk paint chunks, you can always sand them off and then it just looks good.
All right. So usually on like, let's say you were doing a dresser or something that's going to be heavy use, not just decor like this, you would let the oil wax sit for about 20 minutes and then wipe it off. Let it soak down into that paint really good because this is just decor. Probably never going to get like a super heavy scrub. Just dusting and light wipe downs. This will be fine.
Yeah, a lot of times after close loved ones pass away, you have a lot of like survivor guilt, like you made it, they didn't, even if it was not your fault, and that can be pretty traumatic too. Sorry, I'm almost done.
You're good.
Just making sure.
You know, the only thing I have to do after this is eat lunch.
And take a picture of everything over there while I lay in bed and get it listed.
The only thing I have to do after this is eat lunch.
All right, there you go.
No, I'm going to show you how to weed whack. Redrick's like, don't forget you got to weed whack. I'm going to show you how.
What did you use for the candlesticks? We used trellis rose milk paint with a little bit of bond and then dark oil wax. The dark oil wax, I feel like, really sophisticates the pink.
All right, guys, while Jamie's reading comments and I'm finishing this, the milk paint is a flash sale. It was yesterday and today on the sale. So if you didn't catch the beginning of the video, just at jamierayvintage.com, it takes it off at checkout. So
yes, it will be until you actually check out that you see
no
the
code
discount.
needed. Just go and if you want some milk paint, go grab some. And today is the last day of that. It's just a quick flash sale from the manufacturer that they passed on to us.
So Maureen was just talking about her foster care experience and that her sister and her were removed. She said she didn't like the foster mom. She thinks some of that was because she was a teenager and then her mom did what she needed to do to get them back. And then her sister really liked their foster mom and wasn't happy to go back to their bio mom. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like every situation is so nuanced and so different. And when you think you've got it figured out, you'll find a situation where things are not always the same. In this case, you have Maureen that wanted to go back to her mom, and then you have her little sister that wanted to stay with the foster mom, and it's just hard. Does milk paint work as a wash? Yes, you just water it way down. Could you put dark oil wax over the transfers? Yes. you can. I don't put it underneath. If it's dark oil waxed and it's set up and cured for 30 days or more, then you could put it underneath. But if you just put on dark oil wax, do not put transfers over the top. However, if you put transfers on something, you can put dark oil wax over the top right away.
Make sure your transfer is really burnished and there's no bubbles, or because
Yes.
the oil wax will get up.
The reason being
there.
is whatever's underneath will off gas. So if you've got oil wax on it, plus it's slick and not cured, but over the top is fine.
All right, let's get a little pan going here. A lot of little projects today, but they all turned out really good. This actually looks way better. Like, I didn't really like the art in that before, but with that
Garden sage.
is that I was almost
I
trying
still
to
need
call it
to
juniper.
do some more paint on the back of this, but I'll do it off camera.
And we had this, but we didn't do anything with
No.
that. Oh, and the cutting board also, I'm going to let that dry, and we'll oil that up with some tung oil, which is food safe.
All right, guys, if you need to shop, visit JamieRayVintage.com. If you're watching the day this video comes out, do not miss out on milk paint sale, and we will see you tomorrow for Waste Not Wednesday. If you like this video, please share it, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to Jamie Ray Vintage for more
DIY
and thrifting. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye, you guys. Oh, you can't see the frame in the little photo? Here you go. It's kind of hiding. There we go. End stream. All right.